This Chimera's got a body count of 3 right now. Killed 3 creatures.
Today on Commander Replay, someone save the trees as we check out this Colfenor Treefolk tribal deck. Next on Commander Replay.
Welcome back, everyone. Playing some Colfenor the Last U today. This is going to be a fun little Abzan Treefolk tribal deck centered around Colfenor. I'm excited about this one. That will bring it to our turn 1. We did keep an opening hand that looks like this. Got some lands, got some ramp. This deck does not have a lot of removal in it. That's just the thing we're going to have to live with. I guess we play the Sun Petal Grove tapped, and we'll pass like that. But yeah, so I just spent a while putting this Colfenor deck together, and oh, it's something. There are many awesome but janky Treefolks that have been printed over the years, and I wanted to jam so many of them into this deck, and there were like 72 creatures in the deck at one point, and I'm like, oh, that's not gonna work. So I just spent like the last hour cutting down to 100 cards and all of that, and I had to give up on so many of the Treefolk that I wanted to end up playing, and it makes me sad. I did keep a few of these like good value-y creatures in the deck. I didn't go too wild. I tried to keep like the minimum amount to actually allow the deck to work, so I could accommodate as many Treefolk as I possibly could. For reference, there are 45 creatures in this deck, so a lot of creatures. I was able to keep a lot of Treefolk, but sadly, not all of them. So, you know, that's how it's going to go. Opponent lays down this Transcendent Envoy. Aura spells cost 1 less. Cool. We draw a Steely Resolve on our turn. Yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and get that in. Play this Forest. Play the Steely Resolve. It comes in. We choose Treefolk, and we pass like that. Next turn, we can look at the Fabro Elder and or the Wood Elves. Probably go Fabro first just because it's a little slower. Now, with Colfenor, let's take a look at it, by the way. So it's 3 in Abzan for 3/7 Vigilance Reach. Oop, that's Feast and Fam coming in. Scary. When it or another creature you control dies, return up to 1 target creature card with lesser toughness from your graveyard to your hand. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Very reanimatory type of thing. And so when I got into this, I'm like, how do I build this deck? I decided that I didn't want to just build the most generic Abzan Reanimator. Like, there are so many different ways to do that. You can build Nethroi, you can build Caretaker, and just build like every single cheaply costed ETB utility creature, probably go infinite with Revelark and Karmic Guide and do all that sort of stuff. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to build something that looks a little different, so we ended up with Treefolk Tribal, and I'm excited about it. But it does look like there are a lot of things that will probably combo or at least value really hard with Colfenor. I went really light on the sack outlets since we are not an aristocrat style deck. We're not running a ton of sack combos in the deck, so yeah, I didn't include too many of those, again, just so I could keep the creature count nice and high. But certainly, if you wanted to build some sort of Abzan Aristocrats, Abzan Reanimator around Colfenor, that's a thing that you could do. Opponent puts Chosen by Heliod on this Transcendent Envoy. Looks like they thought about attacking and then didn't. Brings back to our turn. That's Nylea, God of the Hunt. That's a cool card. Let's play the Swamp, I guess. Play Fabro Elder. Fabro Elder is a Treefolk. And we'll pass like that. Let's take a look at what our opponents are playing today. First up, we have Sean, Milk and Cheese 1, piloting Mayael the Anima. We've seen this deck a few times, and he runs a lot of removal in this deck. That's not ideal. Pretty sure there's some Hour Revelations and board wipes and things like that. Also not ideal is the Sword of Feast and Famine. This deck is almost entirely green. The other colors are very much splash colors, and many of them are still black creatures, so blocking gonna be a nightmare for us. Really, they're gonna Field of Ruin our Sun Petal Grove? Ugh. Well, I'm just gonna get a Forest, and I mean, I guess it's not that big of a deal. It's just like a little bit annoying. It'll ramp everyone else, though. I guess I'll get the Plains right here because we don't have a lot of Plains in the deck. Dryad coming into play. Yep. Ooh, nice. Champion Nathun is going to Cross and Grip this Sword of Feast and Famine. That'll take that off the table, and now no one will have to worry about it. Love it. Love it. Let's take a look at what he's playing, by the way. He is playing Grakmaw Skyclave Ravager out of Zendikar. Enters the battlefield with 3+1/+1 counters on it. Whenever another creature you control dies, if it had counters on it, put a counter on Grakmaw. When Grakmaw dies, create an XX black and green Hydra creature where X is the number of counters on Grakmaw. That's interesting. That's interesting. It's a Hydra horror. I'm not sure what you do with it, but I'm sure he's got something in store, so we'll see what he's got going. He drops a land and passes. Looks like it's going to be the Myriad Landscape play. Land tax for Kithron. Kithron piloting Tiana ship's Caretaker. Ah, yes. This is the Auras deck. He played this one on the channel a long time ago. I think he had kind of a bad start in that game, if I remember. Didn't end up getting to see as much of the deck as I wanted to. But I assume that this is either practice or a placeholder until Wylith is available on Magic Online. I believe it now is, but you have to buy the entire Precon deck, and I think those are about $20 or something like that. So, that's a little bit of a commitment. Give that a little bit of time, and eventually Wylith should start to make its way into circulation where you don't have to buy the whole pack and can just get the single. So I assume that this is him kind of working toward that, but who knows? Anyway, we might get a look at some cool Boros Auras, a card pool that I looked at the other day while looking for cards for Rograk. And it's interesting. Most of the good auras are white. But one of the things I found is that, like, putting a lot of power on Rograk is not necessarily the easiest thing to do, especially in, like, a mana-efficient sense, or in the sense of, like, you want cards that won't just immediately go away if your commander dies. Yeah, there are things that exist, but, like, there's not a ton of them. And in general, I found it's hard to get more than 3 power on Rograk, especially without doing it with something that costs, like, 5, 6, 7 mana, so... just your options to do that are very, very limited, and it was an interesting experiment to say the least. Anyway, that brings it back to our turn. Tiana into play. And so now if the board gets wiped, all their auras will go back to their hand. It's pretty cool. And we draw this Wooded Foothills. What are we doing? Let's play the Wood Elves. Actually, if we play this Cankerous Abomination, we'll get an extra color of mana. Does that do anything for us? I don't think that it does. Play the Twilight Mire, play the Wood Elves. Right now, that'll make 2 mana. That'll make a 3rd mana. Oh, you want to know what we can do? We can. If we play this Cankerous Abomination, we can get this and the Wood Elves, because we'll have 3 colors of mana. Love it. Enters battlefield, choose an opponent. Cankerous Abomination going to get -1/-1 for each creature the opponent that we chooses controls. So, champion has no creatures, so we'll choose him. It comes in as a 6/6, and it's got Shroud. Love it. So then we tap this for 3 mana. And I guess we could have attacked first, but we'll play this Wood Elves. And we'll get Murmuring Bosk, because you have to, right? You're going to reveal a Treefolk. We're out of Treefolk, actually. But this is all pretty nice right here, as long as a board wipe doesn't happen or something like that. We can get the Great Henjin pretty cheaply next turn. Might be able to think about getting our commander after that. That should be a nice bit of card draw. Migration Path for opponent. Yeah, going to get themselves some ramp. This deck is actually a little bit light on land-based ramp like Migration Path. I went really heavy with the creatures because you can get them back, which is cool. Also, a lot of the stuff, Fabro Elder, Somberwald Sage, that type of stuff, really good when a lot of your deck is like 5, 6, 7 mana. Kind of gives you that explosive mana. It's risky, and it gets blown away in board wipes, which isn't great, but Colfenor with the ability to get some stuff back should things die is a good place to be, so... I felt like going in that direction more so than just completely loading up on the Migration Paths, Cultivates, Kodamas, and all those type of things. I didn't get Kodamas reach into the deck, though I'd really like to. The more I play this deck, here's what'll happen. I can tell you the progression of this deck. I'm going to play this deck. I'm going to realize there's not enough removal. I'm going to have to cut a few more things that I really wanted to keep in the deck. We're going to add in a little bit of removal. Then we'll bring in Kodama's Reach and stuff like that. So, basically the life cycle of a deck. It starts off kind of janky, and then you play it, and you're like, well, I guess I got to answer this thing because I can't get away with this amount of jank. So you make it a little bit better. You add more ramp, draw, removal. Then you have less of the things you initially wanted when you started, which is a million Treefolk. But it does get stronger over time, and, there is something to say. One of the things that really brings me joy is, like, thrashing people with really janky deck ideas, like Legendary Blades started out as just, like, a pile, and now it's kind of scary, honestly. Even the Angel deck, the Angel deck has really evolved into something that, like, it shreds mid-power decks because it's just so recursive that... they need to kill you very quickly, and they probably need to have a lot of cheap removal to do it. It's not that it can't lose, but, in the mid-power sense, it's just a hard deck to beat because everything keeps coming back. Anyway, so that's where I kind of am in my commander career at this point. It's like, yeah, I could just go out and build, like, the most hardcore Abzan Reanimator with this thing, and we could go tutor for Revelark and do all that stuff. Or... we could play a whole bunch of cards that most of the table's probably never seen before because there are some really old and weird Treefolk out there. And we can build a deck around that and try to win with those cards. What's opponent got for us? So Pentarch Ward, that's a pretty good one. Chooses a color. as it enters the battlefield. I imagine green's going to be on the docket. They're going to get to draw a card when it does that. Also got this Chosen by Heliod on there. Draws a card and gives it 0-2. Goes red. Board wipe? Don't be the board wipe. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. And it's probably got the board wipe in hand, though, so we should definitely get our commander into play, because we're probably about to lose a bunch of stuff. We did survive back to our turn, though. Yes! Magnagoth Treefolk. This one almost got cut at the last second, but I kept it in. Domain. For each basic land type among lands you control, it has landwalk of that type. Yeah! So it has landwalk of 3 colors, which is super exciting. But we need to get our commander in because things are probably about to get blown up. So play this Wooded Foothills. This is 2, right? 3. It is 3. Oh, it's 9 mana. That's so much. All right, so what does that look like? We spend 3 right there, and then we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have exactly enough for our commander. I guess that works out. So crack the Wooded Foothills. Get this Bayou. Play the Great Henge. Oh, right, the Great Henge also makes mana. Forgot about that. But let's get our commander in, because board wipe, maybe. We'll tap the Great Henge. This does have reach, which is, like, super helpful. I was a little bit worried about flyers when I was building the deck. I'm like, oh, wait, there's reach on our commander. Excellent. So we get to draw with the Great Henge. Lovely. It's another Treefolk. Yeah. And we can do some attacking. I don't know, everyone's a little bit scary. We'll start with Sean. Send a 6/6 his way. This one's cool. This is a little bit of removal. When you cast a Treefolk spell, you may have target creature get +3/-3 until end of turn, or you can just make one of your trees huge. And we do have a couple ways to give trample on the deck, Nylea being one of them right here. Tree Shaker Chimera. All creatures able to block it do so. When it dies, draw 3 cards. So it's an 8/5 with Lure, and when it dies, you get to draw 3 cards. This is the type of card that, like, sure, there are many, like, really good staple green ETB creatures that you could run in this spot. But as a combat trick, this is the type of thing that could get you late in the game. Like, probably not right now because we're all high life total still, but, you know, turn 11 or 12, this comes down and you're like, okay, I've got a blocker for their big thing. If they have another big thing in this and you're on low life, you're like, crap, well, that's going to get me. So, yeah, like, I'm not saying it's the greatest thing ever, but it is the type of thing that it is powerful enough that it could get you later on in a game. Rishkar's Expertise, you know, that's one that didn't make it into this deck. In some sense, it, like, may not be the best, because most of the Treefolk have really high toughness and not so much power. So I kind of went just more on the, like, Great Henge, Zendikar Resurgent, Guardian Project type draw for this particular build. But I'll be honest, I really just focused on the creatures. I wasn't super focused on, like, the other stuff in this deck, because I know there's, like, a million things you could put in green that will draw cards, and all kinds of removal in Abzan, and, you know, really just wanted to play some awesome trees. Really, the question today is, how much jank can we get away with? Like, how many bad cards can I run before I start having to run good cards in order to make the deck operate? Opponent's going to cast the Sidisi off the Rishkar's Expertise, sacrifice their commander. They're going to create a horror token. I didn't see how many counters it had on it, but I'd imagine at least a couple. They're going to probably tutor for something. I hope it's not the board wipe. I'm not sure if he's trying to set up for, like, a combo piece or something like that. You know, if he's just thinking ahead and he's like, I should probably get some removal because this board's starting to look a little clogged. It's definitely the choice, I think. You know, I do have a question about the timing of the Colfenor trigger. If someone played a board wipe and all of our stuff died right now, are we able to get those creatures out of the graveyard? I think we are. I think it's similar to, like, I think that's how Revel Arc works. I forget. It's been a minute. Because I think the dies trigger occurs as a result of it hitting the graveyard. So, like, this one should be able to bring back that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, etc. I suppose that being the case, you could probably build this as a board wipe tribal deck if you wanted. Land tax trigger for opponent. Opponent has many lands in hand. What's this? Claws of Gix. Sacrifice a permanent, you gain 1 life, so they can sacrifice things at will. For example, they could sacrifice this Petrarch Ward or this other one that draws a card, and recast those to get some card draw, which is not awful. It's not awful. Gain a little bit of life in the process. Won't matter now, but, like, later in a game, sometimes a little bit of life gain. You know, if someone has Xaxes on you, then you can sacrifice a permanent or 2 and keep yourself alive. I haven't done it a lot, but one time I remember Xaxes coming in and I had a Bow of Nylea, and I was able to gain a little bit of life, and that allowed me to untap, and I think I was able to win the game from that spot because they had just accounted for me being dead, so, you know. Ooh, there's a high market. Beautiful. So that will potentially help resolve some of the timing issues if we needed to. So play the high market. Let's just start slamming creatures and trying to get some card draw going. Let's get this Nylea, because Nylea is nice and safe. No safe attacks for Fabro Elder, so we can just tap it out. The next step is probably to get a little bit of cost reduction. Fair amount of cost reduction in the deck, because I know we're playing a bunch of big, expensive creatures. So that comes in Great Henge triggers. There's a Wickerbow Elder. That's a nice piece of removal. Nothing super scary yet that I'm crazy worried about. Oh, we should have went for that one first, probably. Yeah, let's go for this one, I guess. Oh, we have to tap out the high market. Oh, no, we can tap the Great Henge. There we go. Boom. Punt skis right there. Should have played those in the reverse order. I think the only thing that kills, though, is this Hydra, which, you know, it's something, but... Great Henge trigger. Draw another card. It's a Solemn Simulacrum. Probably don't have enough for that. Nope, one floating, one there. So we've got Shroud and Trample. That's kind of scary. Opponent's got a bunch of mana up over there. Don't love it. Don't love it. Oh, that's one thing I figured out, too, is that +1/+1 counters really good for this deck because the creature is smaller in the graveyard than it was in play. So that is helpful for doing some stuff. Verdurous Gearhulk, probably something you want in a more standard Colfenor build. That one's got Death Touch. Death Touch isn't great. I don't really want to lose our commander. I'm going to send just a light attack over to Kithron. This Canker Abomination. See what he wants to do about it. We have Shrouds, so, like, it's not a Swords or a Path. It's going to block with Tiana. Okay. Flash in a whole bunch of stuff. First strike happens. No, we just trample over for 2. That works for me. Sounds good. Oh, right, it's got Spirit Mantle on. It's got protection from creatures. Okay, so we trampled over for 2. No big deal. I guess we just, you know... I guess that's fine. We didn't lose anything. They lost a teeny bit of life, and everything's fine. Fabro Elder coming in for opponent. Yep, pretty good card. Is a Treefolk. Oh, does this help them? All Treefolk? Creatures of the chosen type. Yep, their Treefolk has Shroud. Adventure awaits. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. Choose a creature. Put it in your hand, and the rest on the bottom. If you didn't put a card this way, draw a card. Cool. So, like, commune with nature, except if you whiff, you get to draw. Sort of. I think there's a land thing. There's a land clause in commune with nature, I think. Grabs a Spellbreaker Behemoth. Opponent gonna send... Oh, God, they're gonna send the 8/5 our way. Well, then. Well, then. Probably gonna lose some stuff. Yeah, all creatures have to block. Guess we're blocking with everything. Well, we're gonna see how this trigger works. Probably gonna lose this guy. Also the Wood Elves. I'm not too worried about the Wood Elves, though. Maybe they kill our commander. Actually, that reminds me. So, let's see. Okay, they're gonna kill our commander first. Turn off the auto yields. Let us, because our commander's gonna die, I think we sacrifice the Wood Elves so that we get the Wood Elves back and can continue to ramp and draw more. Yeah. Sacrifice the Wood Elves. Colfenor will trigger. Right, so it can't target itself, and that makes sense. But when Colfenor dies right here, it'll bring back the Wood Elves. So our commander dies, that'll give us a trigger. Opponent will get to draw 3 cards. We get to bring back the Wood Elves. I wonder if we sent the 6/6 their way, if they would have just... Well, no. Because even if we did that, then, like... It's just worth it for them to take the damage and then kill our commander, right? Basically, they spend 7 mana for a slow removal spell that draws 3 cards. It's not the worst thing. I mean, you wouldn't necessarily just put that into your deck, but, like, it is a creature, so there's additional utility there also. You wouldn't do that on a sorcery, I don't think, but the fact that it's a creature means that it does other things also. Ouch. Sean said he's missing the lands. Drew 3 cards, no lands right there. Well, maybe his 4th card will be a land. What I don't love now is that we're like a little bit exposed to the board wipe. Really like to get Colfenor back to play. It's going to take a bit of mana to do it, though. Having your 6-mana commander get blown up, not a good time. But right now we have enough to go Wood Elves and Colfenor, so it's reasonable. It's reasonable. It's going to Life's Legacy. He's doing a lot of tutoring over there. I don't know if I love that. Or is this a draw one? Okay, it's a draw one. I was thinking Diabolic Intent for a second, but it is not. Still good, though. Still good. Goes up to 9 cards in hand. Yeah, maybe we start paying attention in that direction, because Champ's just kind of been sitting back, drawing cards, tutoring, ramping. No big deal. Got a Brawn in his graveyard. Oh, that's a living death. Crap. Well, wrecked. Wrecked. Kith can just sack his creatures and put him in the graveyard. That seems pretty good. Yep, gonna start doing that. Don't even get the Wood Elves? Ugh, so rude. So rude. He's actually only getting the Brawn, which tells me that this is a I just want a board wipe play. Doesn't like our trees. Oh, we're also going to lose Nylea. Ugh. It's not great. It's not great. Yep, Kith sacking out the team. Sends his commander to the command zone, which he didn't want to do, because it would have just come right back. That's probably a misclick. 90% of the time, you just click yes, go back to the command zone. So kind of a muscle memory issue right there. But they're going to get all their auras back to hand, and that's pretty cool. Champ discards a land to hand size. Land tax trigger. They have reliquary towers, so they can just grab all the lands, but you are exposed to a wheel when you do that, because I've had that happen. Just because you can grab every land in your deck doesn't mean that you should. Yep, they grab a bunch more, up to 19 cards. A lot of them are lands. They have this many lands in their hand, so, you know, it's not quite the same as having 19 cards in hand off of, like, Rhystic Study. Oop, there's Wyleth. Okay, so it's, Wyleth hitting commanders is what we're doing. Yeah, okay, Blazing Sunsteel. Whenever a equipped creature is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to any target. Ugh. Well, as long as our Steely Resolve holds up, then that does give us a little bit of protection from that. Doesn't save our face, but at least it saves our creatures. Spirit Mantle, yeah. Protection from creatures is like, our deck is 50% creatures. It's bad for us. It's really bad for us. We do have this Wickerbur Elder, though. May have to shoot some stuff with that. Probably get rid of this Claws. The Claws, I think, is a little bit scary. Yeah, the Spirit Mantle's also a little bit scary. Initially, I was just going to go on the value turn and play Solemn and Wood Elves, but we may need to get busy with Wickerbur here. Is it 1 counter? Yeah, it's only 1 minus counter on it. Oh, you want to know what happens too? This gets rid of that minus counter, which is not ideal. Ooh, the life gain, Treefolk. Yeah. We have 9 total mana. That would be 7. And that would give us 1 left over, which is a little bit awkward. We're going to draw a bunch of cards too, though. Start with the Wood Elves. Also, we get to see if the Great Henge is a trigger. I think it's a trigger. Yeah, okay, there's the trigger. So we would have time to activate the Wickerbur in response. Great Henge trigger. We draw Seed Guide Ash. When it dies, you may search your library for 3 forest cards. If you do, put them onto the battlefield tapped. If you do, shuffle your library. That's a lot of ramp, actually. We get a land. Guess we go for the Savannah. Oh, I used the high market. Sadness. So we're on 7 mana right now. What can we do? I think it's all a little bit awkward, honestly. I'm going to go Wickerbur. Use the ability. I'm going to shoot this Spirit Mantle. Spirit Mantle's kind of bad news. Spirit Mantle down. We'll draw a card. It's a Godless Shrine. Excellent. Anything to do with it? Doesn't look like it. Yeah, we'll play it tapped. And then we'll pass the turn. And we got ourselves a 5/5. 5/5s are cool. Chosen color is green on the Petrarch ward. Still, probably got to find a way to deal with that one also. Spellbreaker Behemoth coming in. Yep. The 8/5 is back. Gross. Mark of Asylum, even better. Protects them from Blasphemous Act and things of the like. Prevent all non-combat damage that would be dealt to creatures you control. Gonna send that in the champ. I can appreciate it. Hopefully opponents have figured out that we're just playing Treefolk. That's all we're doing. It's not like a super fast strategy. Sure, in the late game, you don't want to have a bunch of Treefolk staring you down, but there are many things you can do to avoid that, and many things you can do to win first. Opponent going to use Castle Garenbrig, card that could probably be in this deck. Here comes a Beast Whisperer, yep. And Grakmaw coming back to play, they get to draw a card, sure. Another land tax trigger for opponent. Urza's Incubator off the top would make me super happy. It's so much easier to get the things out of our hands. New Nylea would also be okay. Pearl Medallion for opponent, that's a good one. Want to see some combo-y stuff start to happen? It's going to be Pearl Medallion, Claws, and any of the draw a card enchantments. Seems pretty good. Tiana coming back. Yep. Leaves up 1 mana to sacrifice stuff. Here comes Heliod's Chosen. Yep. Draw a card. It's a 2/4. Where do they want to send it? Send it over to Champ. Excellent. And they'll get to draw a card. Brings it back to our turn. Ooh, Karmic Guide is a real magic card. What are we getting? That is not a green card. They are not protected from that one. It sucks because it's really slow, but I think I just want to get our commander this turn because we can do some really crazy stuff if our commander's in play. So get Colfenor. Great Henge will trigger. It's a Plains. Ooh, yeah. That actually works out pretty well. So play the Plains, play the Solemn Simulacrum, and now we can get a little bit of ramp going. Have to give up on our high market once again. Solemn Simulacrum, Great Henge, but has a lot of value right there. So there's another land. Get next turn's land drop set up. Grab a land into play. We'll get a swamp just in case. I think I got rid of all the Forest Matters cards. There are a bunch of Forest Matters Treefolk, and I just didn't go for them because I knew it's a 3-color deck. So we've got a 5/5 with Shroud. Those just trade. That's not ideal. We'll send it over to Champ. I mean, maybe he just blocks. I don't know. I don't really understand what this deck is doing yet. Okay, so he's going to double block, so he wanted that all along. No big deal. Oh, you know what, too? Getting this dead also means that it can come back as removal, so that is a thing. Yeah, we'll kill the Beast Whisperer. That one is not ideal. Colfenor trigger. We can get some stuff back. Can it get itself back? Or I think it can get... Wow, it can get itself back. That's kind of crazy. Yeah, get the Wickerbird back, because that's removal. Yeah, so +1/+1 counter is really good, because it allows things to get themselves back. If I'm understanding this trigger right, when it or another creature you control dies, return up to one other target... Oh, nope, not supposed to be able to do that. Turn up to one other target creature. Yeah, I don't think you're supposed to be able to return the same creature, but... Whoops. Gerza Ghost. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice it unless you put 2 cards from your graveyard on the bottom of your library. It's a 6/8. Discard a card. You may have it deal its combat damage as though it weren't blocked. Yeah. Super Trample is what that ability is called. And all creatures must block the Chimera. Is he going to draw 3 more cards of this thing? No, they're probably not going to kill it. He's going to kill these 2, though. Got him. Nice. This Chimera's got a body count of 3 right now. Killed 3 creatures. Doing work. Oop, great henge for Champ. Yeah, we'll want to get rid of that. We will want to get rid of that. We're going to be on 14 mana this coming turn. Thinking ahead about what we're going to do. Ooh, Loyal Guardian for opponent. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control your commander, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Pretty good. Probably solid in a non-Treefolk build of this deck. Oh no! Crush Contraband on Steely Resolve and Great Henge. That's so bad for us. Yeah, those aren't coming back either. That's exile. That is exile. Our trees are no longer protected. He's gonna Mistveil Plains it back. No, it's ready for Sunforger. Someone called the Wildlife Conservation. We need to protect these trees. Oh no! Enchanted creature loses all abilities and is a coward. Ugh, we have to Wickerbird on that, I guess. Was hoping to use this somewhere else, but our commander is part of our plans. And they're going to cycle a brand. Nice. That's a card that you have to run with Thieving Skydiver running around now because all of your artifacts get stolen. There's a whole bunch of things on Wylith. Draw a card for each aura attached to it. So if they go on the attack, that's going to be 3 cards. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Going to send that over to Sean. Not happy about getting attacked, I assume. They will draw a bunch of cards. They take the hit down to 30. There's a Farhaven elf for us, more ramp. So play the forest. Let's start with the Wickerbird Elder. Use the Wickerbird to shoot this reprobation, however that's pronounced. Get rid of that nonsense. We've got 7 mana left. I think we take this time to go Seed Guide Ash and just sacrifice it and do all that sort of stuff. Well, since opponent wants to mess with the tree's gonna mess with him. Send the Colfenor to Kithrod. We've got a 2/2 Wood Elves. What are we doing with that? They still got this 8/5 thing in play, which is like not the best. There's a 6/6 right there. Yeah, that's kind of scary. We'll send that too, just so it doesn't get caught up with the 8/5, because it might. And we'll leave up the high market thing just so no one kind of suspects that we're going to try to get a million forests right here. All right, there's a Path to Exile on our commander. Looks like we're doing all that stuff right now. Not ideal. Sacrifice the Seed Guide Ash. Colfenor trigger. Looks like we can get Fabro Elder. Use the ability. Get a bunch of forests. Not paying the life. Any forest, too. Not just basics with the Seed Guide Ash. Path to Exile. Get another forest. Actually, we can get a swamp with this one. Let's get a forest. Back to the command zone. Ugh. Not going to love having to recast that. And we'll hit them for 2. It was feeling like a decent attack. Not so much now. True Conviction is a card we want to find. It'll speed up the process here. Also, this deck has Crescendo of War because a lot of our creatures have a lot of toughness, which I like. So that's another way for us to speed up this process a little bit. Also, Lurking Predators in the deck. Tried to get Wild Pair in. I think I cut it at the last second, but could certainly explore some Wild Pair shenanigans with this deck. Ancient Greedwarden can't be countered. Reach. You may play lands from your graveyard. That's pretty good. If land entering would cause a trigger, double it. Pretty good card. Oh, big attack our way. Fantastic. This will be a giant chunk of our life. The 8/5 must block. Body count about to increase. Was this going to bring the body count to 5? Or maybe just 4. I think one of these. No, that'll kill both of them. 5 creatures killed by this thing. It did die once in that. It'll die right here too, but this is going to be a hit for 11. Gonna feel this. Hopefully the other players don't want to just like turn everything in our direction. I realize that we had the most life, but you know, we're playing Treefolk. We draw another land, get that next land drop set up. Hope there's swamps. I think there's one swamp left in the deck. Did I go 3 or 2 in the swamps? I don't remember now. I guess we can look at that. There are 3 swamps in the deck. So there's at least 1 land left to grab. Garrick's Uprising. Yep. More card draw. You know what we could do? We could put Conspiracy in this deck and turn everything into a Treefolk. That could be cool. Great Angel trigger. Opponent's stuff gonna get pumped up. They'll draw a card. Scoot Swarm. Landfall. When the land enters the battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 green insect. If you control 6 or more, create a copy of Scoot Swarm instead. Ugh. Sure, that's going to be a problem. Yep, there's the landfall trigger. Making a copy of it. Making a copy of it. Probably got to shoot those. Overrun of the Vast Reef going to pump it up. Yep. Ooh, there's an untapped Scavenger Grounds in play. Don't like that one bit. Shuts off Karmic Guide plays and our graveyard. They should go ahead and tap that out for us. Potentially also means like possibly no commander this turn, since graveyard's probably offline anyway, unless they tap out beforehand, but I think he knows what he's doing. You want to know what I've been realizing? So I was playing, I think it was when I was playing the blue-white Achroma deck the other day, and like, at this point in the game, we drew all the lands, which was a big problem. When you're playing green, there's a subtle card advantage thing that, like, I don't know if people spend a lot of time thinking about, but the thinning aspect of, we've pulled this many lands out of our deck. Like, not only have we ramped this much, which is really good, it means that we're also way less likely to be drawing lands at this stage of the game because we've pulled so many out of the deck. Like, I know in Modern, people talk about deck thinning and fetch lands and stuff like that, Legacy, same sort of thing. That topic doesn't come up as much in Commander, at least from what I hear and what I see, but it's one of those things to think about. If you're ramping with lands, it means that you're also decreasing the likelihood of drawing lands late in the game and increasing the likelihood of drawing things that potentially matter, or at least non-lands. Another reason why green is the best color. I'm hoping Wyleth does something that forces Champ to tap out this Scavenger Ground, but that seems like wishful thinking. Opponent's going to put a Shiny Impetus on the Ancient Green Warden. It's a 7/9 that's now goated, has to attack every turn. It's bad. It's really big. We don't have anything really big in play right now. It's not ideal. Heliod's Pilgrim. Uh-oh. I'm curious to see what they go for. The best aura that I'm aware of is Angelic Destiny. But they could also just go for, what's that one, like Spectral Ward, Protection from All Colors. Is not terrible. Depends on what they want to do. What'd they get? Oh, they've got so many lands, it's hard to scroll. Unquestioned Authority, so just going for protection from creatures. Okay, I see what they're up to. Gift of Immortality, yep. Should it die for some reason, it will come back. Mistveil Plains, Path of Exile back to the bottom. Awesome. Where's it going? Going over to Sean. It's unblockable. It's a 4/6. Any double strike in here? No double strikes, so, you know, it's 4. It's not the end of the world, but he's going to draw a bunch of cards. Most of the deck's going to be in his hand. I think this is actually a great time. So he's up to 21 cards in hand, which I'm hoping the other players notice. This is unblockable, which is super annoying. So I think this is a great time for us to just kind of like set up and hang out behind the radar for a moment. Kind of lie low. Oop, there's a Tribe Elder. More mana ramp. Kind of wish Great Henge was still here. We draw a lot of cards. We finally found all the cheap creatures in the deck and, you know, able to cast multiple spells a turn and just not going to pan out for us. So let's get the Orchard Warden into play. Use all the black mana first, no black costs in hand. Cast Fabro Elder. We gain some life. Yeah, I guess we get the Tribe Elder. Get the Farhaven Elf. Get a Forest. 3 mana up. Not that much we can be doing. We can attack somewhere with a 2/2, but probably just going to feed that to this bus if we have to. Yeah, I think we're passing. I went light on the tutors, maybe a reason to add a tutor into the deck. We do have Survival of the Fittest in the deck, so, like, you know, that's a cool card. Oh, hey, Rogue's Passage. Why did we see the Rogue's Passage? That's a Ronas the Indomitable. Yep. I'd go for some pump right now. Field of Ruin. Gonna shoot the Reliquary Tower. Nice. Got him. Gonna have to discard down to hand size now. Gonna feel that pressure. We get a Forest. 3 forests left in the deck after this. Tribe Elder can get one of them. Uh-oh, Scoot Swarm triggers. Forgot about the Scoot Swarm. We probably need to get rid of that, although they had us locked up because of Scavenger Ground. So the Karmic Guide play probably wasn't going to work. Yeah. There's an Earthquake X2. That's not ideal. Doesn't even kills that. That one doesn't kill the other ones. Hits us mostly. Mostly just wrecks our board. Sacrifice a Tribe Elder. Get a forest. Yep, we lose everything except the Orchard Warden. Ouch. Champ sitting with his finger on the button on the scavenger ground makes me feel bad. Gonna send that into Champ, okay. That one into Kithron, and that one into Kithron. And a treasure token will get created. Solidarity of Heroes, what? Oh, Champ's gonna pump up his team a whole bunch? Okay. Puts a bunch of counters on stuff. Gonna double block the big thing, yep. Green Warden goes down. Grakmaw goes down. A Scoot Swarm goes down, but there's still one left, so Landfall make another one as soon as they have a land. Who does Champ think is the threat right now? He's got power, he's got attacks. Sean is scary because he has a lot of big creatures. Kithron's scary because he has a creature that like can't be touched and can't be blocked and all that sort of stuff, but it isn't doing a ton of damage right now. And we've been set back so many times that like we're out of it for at least a turn. And we really need him to tap these scavenger grounds so we can Karmic Guide stuff. Karazda Guildmage, yep. Gives creatures +1/+1 and Intimidate until end of turn. Sacrifice a non-token creature. Create X/1/1 green Saplings where X is its toughness. Great Henge triggers. Scoot Swarm trigger, landfall. Yeah, we're going to need all three of those opponents to battle it out for a while and like stop shooting our stuff. More Scoot Swarm triggers. Didn't see how. Another land came in one way or another. Oran Reef the Vastwood, yep. There are now many Scoot Swarms in play. This would be a good time for Kithron to lay down a board wipe. That would actually help us. It would, one, clean up Champ stuff, and two, we don't really have that much to lose. We have a 4/6 that I like it, but it would hurt everyone else much, much more at this point. Demonic Tutor. That's bad. This might be where it ends. A Hoof would end it. Blackblade Reforged can also do some work. That one has Trample. Blackblade on the Commander. Commander has Trample. So bronze in the graveyard. So all of his stuff has Trample. It's got 18 power. Where does he want to send it? It'll have 19, so does Loyal Guardian triggers right here. And he can pump it, give it +1 a couple times. Ideally tapping out Scavenger Grounds. Everything into Sean. This should take him out. Sean goes down. Yep, still holding that Scavenger Grounds over our head. We need Kithron to either like wipe the board or make some kind of big play against Champ. Soul Ring. Winds of Wrath. Destroy all creatures that aren't enchanted. They can't be regenerated. Well, we're going to sacrifice our creature to draw a life. To gain a life. That's the board wipe I was talking about. Champ's got stuff. Return of the Wild Speaker. Gonna draw a bunch of cards. Wow, that's an instant. Oh my. Gonna draw 20 cards. That will create a need to deal with him because he's gonna have most of his deck in his hand. Grakmaw is gonna trigger a bunch of times. Ends up with a 7/7 trample out of the deal. This is still unblockable though. Mesa Enchantress, yep. Ooh, Sigil of the Empty Throne. Lutula's Orders flash. Whenever enchanted creature deals combat damage to defending player, you may destroy target artifact that player controls. Yeah, they have a Blackblade Reforged. That'll solve that issue. They get a 4/4 out of the deal, draw a card. Still not real big on the damage yet. Wyleth gonna trigger, and they're gonna draw many cards. Up to 24 in hand. That brings back to our turn. There's that Urza's Incubator that we've been looking for so long in this game. So I think the first thing is get Karmic Guide. I think the thing we want is Thorntooth Witch. Nylea is also cool. We have a lot of mana. Nylea is kind of cool. Yeah, I think it's the Thorntooth Witch because removal is where we want to be right now. Thorntooth Witch back to play. How much is our commander? 10. Oh. Okay, so let's get Urza's Incubator. I mean, there's also like no way that Champ doesn't have removal in 24 cards, which is bad. Means none of our stuff's probably going to live to see the light of day. Choosing Treefolk. Cast our commander. What are we shooting? Mesa Enchantress. We'll get a second trigger, though. Doesn't kill the 7/7. Doesn't kill that. Yeah, Mesa Enchantress, I guess it is. Use the ability. Mesa Enchantress down. Colfenor back to play. We could sacrifice Colfenor right now to get something cool back to our hand. Which, like, might be Nylea. Yeah, I'm going to do that. It sucks mana-wise, but once the Scavenger Grounds is untapped, I don't think we're going to be able to do much with our graveyard, so I really want to be able to get this Nylea back. Colfenor trigger. Get Nylea. We could cast this thing. Does this thing just get wiped? I'm going to hold that back. Like, with 24 cards, it just seems like he probably starts with a removal spell. Or we just die, is the other way that it goes, too. We'll see. We'll see. Vampire Tutor on the upkeep. Well, that's probably what the start of a win's going to look like. Nature's Claim takes down the Sigil of the Empty Throne. Gets an Ozolith into play. Interesting. Hydra's Growth. +1/+1 counter on enchanted creature at the beginning of your upkeep, double the number of counters on it. So, you know, +1/+1 theme is what we're seeing out of the deck. Pernicious Deed, there's the removal. Good news is with so many cards in hand, like, they have to choose between holding mana up for stuff and actually casting things from their hand. Branching Evolution. If one or more counters would be put onto a creature you control, twice that many instead. 8/8 into Kithron. Gonna block with the 4/4, does have trample though. Mana Gorger Hydra. Great Henge. Now he's just down to Scavenger Grounds. Pernicious Deed X2. Actually doesn't really touch any of our stuff. Awesome. Gets rid of a bunch of auras though. Remaining is Gift of Immortality, Unquestioned Authority, and Petrarch War that's still pro-green and protection from creatures. So, loses some of his own stuff in the process. And now he's discarding a million things. Imperial Recruiter. Mana Gorger Hydra triggers. Brash Taunter coming in. Uh-oh. Guilty Conscience. This can actually kill that. But we do need to survive back to our turn. Dragon Mantle. Draws a card. Oh no, Path to Exile. We used our high market already. Thorntooth Witch down. Oh man. Needed that. How many Path to Exiles have we been hit with this game? Get our land. One basic left. Misfail playing something back to the bottom. Not in a great spot. Gonna let the Karmic Guide go. I did the math on Nylea. Not gonna be able to kill someone with Nylea on Karmic Guide, so sadness. Deadwood Treefolk. Cast our commander. Mana Gorger Hydra's gonna trigger. Cast Deadwood Treefolk. Mana Gorger Hydra. Oh, we can return another target creature? Yeah. Think I'll return this Karmic Guide. Cast Karmic Guide. Mana Gorger Hydra. Solemn Simulacrum for the card draw, maybe? That's what I'm thinking. We're out of forests. Most of these are mana-producing cards. Yeah, Solemn for the draw. I think this is also our last basic. Get our last basic. We are one short of casting this guy. I guess we pass like that. This is 17/17. Champ accidentally yielded through his first main. He said it was an MTGO thing. Actually, yeah. Because he hasn't done that at all this game. So MTGO apparently been having some trouble where it yields through the first main sometimes. Yep. There's been a lot of issues going on. So we can block with the Deadwood Treefolk, get another thing back. Doesn't seem awful. Block with all the stuff that we're probably going to lose anyway. Hope it doesn't get double striked. Alright, what do we want to get back to our hand? Karmic Guide? Karmic Guide is what we want to get back to our hand. Return to Karmic Guide. Actually, does it get Fabro Elder? Get Solemn Simulacrum? Get Tribe Elder? No basics for Tribe Elder, but it's going to be a 1/1 that attacks. We draw a card. It's Kindred Summons. Nice. We can use that to actually put some bodies into play. We'll need to get some Treefolk into play first, though. We actually seem to be kind of light on Treefolk. There's one. Karmic Guide can get a second. We've got a full hand. That's cool. Oh. Yeah, it just passed right through his main phase. This is not a point in the game where you want to lose a turn. Oh, there's Guilty Conscience. Looks like it wasn't gonna matter. Yep. Could have been prevented if they didn't have the final Path to Exile for our Thorntooth Witch, but there it goes. Down we go. Tree's going down. Opponent's gonna activate the thing. Yep. That's how it's gonna be. We took so much removal this game, we, didn't keep stuff in play. So, this is not the most well-built deck that I've ever ran on the channel. Obviously, could run a lot more things. More protection, more removal, all gonna be good stuff. But we kept putting creatures down, and they just kept getting shot. Our commander was up to, we paid 10 or 12 on the last one, I think. Just every single time. It's pretty annoying. Wouldn't love it. We're playing trees. They don't exactly kill you in a hurry. And, wasn't the best. But, it was fun to play a bunch of old creatures that you don't really get to see that much of, especially in Commander. Maybe if you're drafting, weird old sets or things like that. But, yeah. So, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching. I want to thank my awesome Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. If you want to help support the channel and vote on which decks I play next, feel free to check out my Patreon at the link below.